Biodiesel is a type of renewable fuel made from plant and animal oils and fat. It can be used as a substitute for or blended with traditional fossil fuels such as diesel, and therefore has the potential to play a significant role in the transition to a clean energy future. On today's episode, we'll be speaking to Tochi, the founder of UniGreen Bio. He'll be sharing his experience and insights on working in the biodiesel industry, including the challenges and opportunities that comes with it. He'll be letting us know the specific part UniGreen Bio plays in the supply chain and how it fits into the overall process of producing and distributing biodiesel. So join me as we get a behind the scene look into the world of biodiesel. Welcome to the Sustainability Nugget podcast. I am Rarasu Maraibi.
And I'm Tosin Folorunsho.
On this podcast, we'll learn about sustainability by discussing various related topics while focusing on three pillars: the economy, the society, and the environment. Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of the Waste series on the Sustainability Nuggets podcast. On this series, we've been discussing different business opportunities in the global waste management space. And today, we're going to be talking to Tochi from UniGreen Bio, and we're going to be discussing biodiesel production from waste cooking oil. Hi, Tochi.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing very good.
All right, I'm very happy that you're on the podcast today. So let's just start off with an introduction. Can you tell the audience about yourself and about your company, UniGreen Bio?
My full name is Tochi, chemical engineering graduate from Covenant University. The first time I came across the word biodiesel was during my IT, towards the end of my IT in the year 2013. I'm sure you're familiar with Professor Vincent. He sent us a mail to all his project students. He says, pick project topic. So I just, during my IT, I was always seeing word emulsifier here and there. In my mind, I'm like, okay, I better choose this one that has something about emulsifier while I'm still here so that this company staff can help me with the project. So I picked it. And it didn't take long. I got a response that topic had already been picked. He told me to go ahead and choose. This was the project topic: 2-stage biodiesel production from used cooking oil. Yes, that was the topic. So I chose this. I didn't know anything about biodiesel was. I had resumed final year. Then second semester started. The project started. And I started learning things. He was teaching me. I mean, he wasn't teaching me too many things, but he was pointing me to the right directions to get information. During the course of the project lab analysis and all that, I mean, I produced biodiesel, but from what I know now, what I knew then, the difference is clear. Like I wasn't producing good biodiesel at the time because I was not respecting all the stages. So that passed, the project passed, graduation happened, everything. This was the year 2014, 2015. When I left Covenant in the year 2016, I have a family-owned hotel in eastern Nigeria, Owerri to be precise. So I was overseeing affairs there, and I noticed that all the money we're making and more was going into diesel consumption in the hotel because the PHCN light we get
Electricity, yeah.
Is not close to being stable. I started to research on how to produce biodiesel. I started doing the deep research. I bought a couple of articles. I bought a few books. In the office, I was practically not even focusing on hotel anymore. I was just doing so much biodiesel. After all this, I thought I was ready. In 2018, I came back to Lagos. I went to a lab in Bagada for 5 days, Monday to Friday. I went to produce biodiesel on a small scale from used cooking oil I had sourced from a restaurant close by. I produced biodiesel on a small scale, and on the Friday, I brought it home, ran it on our diesel generator in the house, and worked. Then at that time, I just decided that, it's time to get equipment. Let's start this biodiesel production and let's start selling this. Then 2019 came, the elections came. I got equipment to produce biodiesel. So This equipment took a while to get used to. It took a while because I had to change a few things. I learned, made mistakes on the process. I was at 2019 to 2020. I had perfected what I thought was the best production process, to my knowledge, and to the equipment available to me locally. That's just the foundation of how I started going, how I went into the biodiesel business. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, and like just to be so the audience will be clear, you then made this into the business, and that's what is UniGreen Bio, right?
Correct.
Okay, so UniGreen Bio, exactly what were they doing or what are they doing?
Okay,
Were they
so UniGreen Bio, when I first started, it was Greenox Biodiesel. Greenox Biodiesel was converting used cooking oil to biodiesel. But with the economic situation and how the US dollar and naira was fluctuating, going up and down, materials became too expensive to procure. So I had to take a step back and consider my options. The option that was glaring to me, because I got an advice from a former biodiesel producer in Egypt. It says, "Oh, look, market for biodiesel is in Europe. People in Europe need biodiesel. They are keen on it. They have policies enable constant and sustainable production of biodiesel. So these guys in Europe, they need your oil. They're more equipped than you to produce biodiesel." So he told me that he stopped producing biodiesel and he went into used cooking oil collection and exportation. So as I was having those issues, it came to mind that, look, okay, this is something that is doable. So I spoke to some other friend of mine that also in Covenant as well. He's also doing exportation of PET bottles, plastic bottles, and all that branded. I spoke to him and he says, "Oh, like, he's keen to partner because he has experience with the exportation process and things like that." So he now transformed from Greenox Biodiesel into UniGreen Bio. That's how UniGreen Bio came about. And instead of producing biodiesel now locally, we work with international partners to enable them produce biodiesel while we give them feedstock, which is used cooking oil.
That's awesome because like even if you're not producing the biodiesel now, you were producing it before, but you're even still in the value chain. You're actually supplying the waste cooking oil for the companies that produce. So in this podcast, we really want to talk about the biodiesel itself, like the production process, but also I know you've mentioned like a challenge already, but we're still going to go deep into like the biodiesel process, even if you're not still doing it now, but you're supplying biodiesel producers. So can you explain how the biodiesel is made?
Let me just start from scratch. You get your used cooking oil. Okay, let's assume that the feedstock is new oil sourced from the farms and new oil. When you get those oils into your factory, you have to make sure that the moisture content is low, very low, close to nothing. So how do you do that? You heat the oil way above water boiling point to make sure that water doesn't exist in the oil anymore. When you heat it, you close it out so that moisture doesn't come in contact, because oil, I think the word is hydroscopic, so it absorbs moisture in the atmosphere. So once you heat the oil and you expose it to the atmosphere, as the temperature drops, you close it out to the atmosphere. So you make sure that it's in a closed loop. Then you introduce acid to make the oil. The oil is already acidic, so to make it very acidic, you introduce sulfuric acid in the presence of methanol. Like there are specific measurements. For example, the specific measurement for 1 liter, the same thing you have to do your mathematics for 1 liter. If you're doing 100 liters or 1000 liters, you just have to do your maths to make sure that the proportions are right. After you introduce acid in the presence of methanol, this is a bit of mixture and rest time. Then you introduce a base, which is potassium hydroxide in the presence of methanol again. You won't use methanol as a solvent because if you use water, it converts it directly into soap.
Into what?
Into soap.
Oh, okay.
So, but if you use methanol, it helps you convert it into glycerin and biodiesel. So once you're done with introducing the base of potassium hydroxide in presence of methanol, all in calculated proportions, I think you mix it. Yes, you mix it for 2 hours. After mixing it for 2 hours, so you mix it for 2 hours and you allow it to settle. When it settles, takes about 12 to 24 hours to settle. And by settling, I mean the glycerin stays below, the biodiesel stays on top. So once you're done settling that, the preferred equipment for doing that is a funnel, a big funnel that can contain the amount of liter you're trying to produce.
Uh-huh.
Then the bottom of the funnel, an equipment that has the valve at the bottom of the funnel. So at the bottom of the funnel, you just take away the glycerin. You have your biodiesel left. You wash it water preferably. At the beginning, you had to take the moisture level. You cannot cancel moisture 100%. That take away moisture level to being very low. When you're washing biodiesel with hot water, it takes away all the trace of excess methanol. It takes away all the trace of soap in your biodiesel. Then you wash it. You keep washing it until the wash water that goes through the biodiesel becomes clear. Because on your first wash, water is whitish. It's not clear. So you keep washing until it becomes clear. Once it becomes clear, obviously your biodiesel now has high moisture content inside it. So what do you do again? Take it to special equipment to heat it up again above moisture,
The boiling point.
point of water, above the boiling point of water. So after doing that, above the boiling point of water, obviously your biodiesel is ready, but it's very, very hot. Close it down again so that it doesn't attract. The biodiesel also hygroscopic; it attracts moisture. It has so much moisture. Once you're done heating it, you close it and you allow it to. You close it in a vessel that is not insulated. Yeah, so you close it and you allow it to reduce temperature. Once you're done with that, then you have your biodiesel ready.
Awesome. So like you already know, or I don't know if you know, for my undergrad dissertation, I also did biodiesel.
Yes.
I produced biodiesel from palm oil and palm kernel oil. I can't remember using sulfuric acid, but maybe I have to look at the paper again. I think I just used KOH and methanol or something.
If you do that, you're not going to produce ASTM standard biodiesel.
Oh, okay. Without the sulfuric acid.
Without the two-stage, using the acid and then using the base.
Oh, okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah, I did that. And if you guys want to see the paper, it will be linked. It was published. But I know a challenge at that point for like scaling up was really the food versus fuel. That was a major challenge, like limiting biodiesel at that point, like using food oil, like palm oil uses for food, for example, or fuel, and even like the food for land versus fuel for land prices. So how are you overcoming that challenge in your own process?
Okay, for example, I mean, it's a good thing that biodiesel can be produced from any type of cooking oil that's specified. Use new cooking oil or use cooking oil. At the end of the day, the demand for biodiesel is really high, it's almost unsatisfiable. You're going to compete with the food producers, compete with the food industry using new cooking oil. You're going to raise the price of new cooking oil. Yes, so if you try to partner with the hospitality industry, these people that use high volumes of cooking oil, I say, you know what, this cooking oil you use, it is is in high demand. But what we're going to do, we're going to wait for you to use it. And when you want to discard it, come and give you value for it. Value, by value I mean monetary term. And you get their used cooking oil. One, it stops them from pouring it into the drains. It stops them from reusing and reusing it because this oil gets very rancid. So it's using waste cooking oil as like a win-win situation because you're stopping wastage, you're reducing the amount of carbon emissions in the atmosphere. So all roads point to the fact that waste cooking oil is what should be used instead of new cooking oil, just so that you compete with food prices and all that, and hunger and things like that.
I like that you said you had to give them like value, like monetary value, in order for them not to overuse it. Because that was like I think I even asked you the last time I saw you. I'm like, the way Nigerians we use the oil, are you sure you can produce biodiesel from it afterwards? So is there like an agreement that after you use it for for a number of time, then we collect it? Is that agreement or they just give you at any time?
They give you at any time, because when you know the kind of people you're going to meet, you're not going to meet people on the roadside and say, come, give me your oil. You're going to meet people that care about food quality. For example, if you go to a very big hotel and you know that this place is expensive, they're not going to serve their customers useless food. They're going to serve their customers food that they've fried with overused oil. So you know that obviously this place they have high food quality. Or you approach them and start to have the questions about used cooking oil, because you know that most definitely they're going to have used cooking oil.
Yeah. So Yeah. So like, yeah, so that's actually how you determine like the quality, to make sure you're sourcing it from proper kitchens that like make sure, what do you say?
Mostly industrial kitchens,
Yeah,
hotel, restaurant.
hotels and restaurants that really like take care of their food quality and all. But like, since it's waste cooking oil,
Yes.
it's still, let's say, polluted in it. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't expect you using like a fresh cooking oil, like how you just put it into your process and start creating your biodiesel. I don't expect that for a waste cooking oil, because it has particles, stuff like that. So what is the pretreatment step when using waste cooking oil to produce biodiesel?
So I'll answer this question speaking for our own process. Our own process was when we get all into the factory, by the time I point into our equipment, the equipment is already equipped with sieves. And so we just pour all through this sieve, and this sieve takes away all the rubbish, all the excess food particles and excess fries and meat inside the oil, and doesn't allow it to go into the biodiesel production process. That's one pre-treatment. Second pre-treatment is obviously what I discussed before, taking away the moisture content, which is already part of production. Because if you do not take away the moisture content, what you're going to produce is going to, it might not be biodiesel. It might be traces of biodiesel inside it, but there's going to be a lot of traces of soap inside it.
Okay, so that makes sense. Where do you source, like, we've talked about restaurants and industry, but like you're in Nigeria now. Like,
Yes,
do you source from just one state, one city? How do you source? Do you have like intermediate, like, do you empower people to source for you? Because this podcast is really about business opportunities. So we're trying to see like how people can actually still make money from the entire.
Yes. The first question was what again? Sorry.
Do you have like states where you get your stuff from, or you're just in one city?
Okay.
And
We started in Lagos, so we have to conquer where you are first before you go outside.
okay.
I mean, we're open to getting oil from places within Nigeria down to Lagos. It depends on the quantity. If the quantity is big enough for us to make arrangements to export it from the source location, yes, that's what we'll do. But the quantity is not so much. You just bring it down to our storage and increase what we have to make our export faster. So most of it is done in Lagos. Like 95% of all use cooking oil generation is done in Lagos. And two, yes, we have people that we give incentives. Yeah, some people come. The usual thing we do is we hire a driver to go around and pick a lot of these cooking oil for places that we already have relationship. Another thing we also do is we speak to some people. Look, guy, how far can you get me oil every week? How much can you get me? What's the price? We negotiate and we give them, okay, when you're done, just come and drop it here. So yeah, we have soldiers. We are looking to grow like in the amount of soldiers we have. If we have 100 soldiers, everybody gets value. What we're looking for is just cooking, and what you're looking for is money. So I think the win-win situation for everybody.
That's awesome, because I know that's what like the PT people do a lot
Yeah.
in Nigeria. Like, they have different people
Yeah,
sourcing. Yeah, so that's really, really great. Okay. I know at the beginning you said you had switched from biodiesel to just waste because of like the Nigerian situation, which what I was about to ask, but like you've already answered it, like, because I was about to ask, is this really sustainable in Nigeria? Are there policies? But I guess no, right?
No policies right now. Yeah.
Okay. So when you were producing, you were exporting? Did you ever export?
I never exported biodiesel. I had local buyers that were very keen on the product. People that were paying higher than the amount of diesel.
So did you use it in your generator?
Yes, initially I used it in my generator, but then at the end of the day, you're producing something at a factory that you put in your compound. So what's the point of using money from your house to buy biodiesel producers to the house? You have to go. I mean, just make economic sense. You have to go bring money from outside into the house. It's just like how Nigeria now is trying to make exports better so that they can bring money from outside into the country.
Yeah.
So they just decided that, you know what, I'm not going to use biodiesel in my house anymore. In my house, everybody's doing use diesel. So I had to just find external partners to buy the product.
Okay, that makes sense. I know you're not using your biodiesel, but how about the glycerin? Did you ever think of doing anything with that, which is the byproduct?
I had to reach out to us from China. We are asking for 2,000 metric tons of glycerin. Obviously, our production was not at that level, so we never we never took that conversation to the next stage. Also, it's a very difficult process of converting crude glycerin into refined glycerin. It's a very difficult process, and the equipment required for that are very scarce. So the glycerin we produce, we still have them up to now. We're going to find a way to hold them responsible.
So, but what is your outlook on biodiesel growth globally?
On biodiesel globally, I mean the demand in the world market keeps increasing because, especially in Europe, because there are policies that enable biodiesel production. There are policies that enable biodiesel production for people that are in the industry. So the demand is always increasing. Even in the American market, the places like Brazil that are trying to reduce their carbon footprints. The governments in developed countries keep making all these policies to make sure that not just biodiesel, biofuels in itself.
In general, yeah.
Biokerosene, biodiesel. A lot of airlines are also trying to make sure that their carbon footprints are close to minimal and all those things. So when people keep making all these policies in government, in big companies, you can see that the demand will definitely always increase. It is a very sustainable business.
Yeah, thank you. So I was reading an article and I saw that it's projected the biodiesel itself, because we have the whole, like you said, the jet fuels and all that's produced from another process entirely. But biodiesel itself is projected to increase about 10%, like its global market cap between 2020 to 2030. So I think that's actually a huge increase.
I would definitely be surprised by that. I'm sure that is even minimal, because that kind of increment can happen in a year.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Guys, I'll leave all of his details in the description. And remember, like the paper I talked about, I will leave it linked in case you want to know more about biodiesel. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Continue to live consciously, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for listening to the Sustainability Nuggets podcast. I am Rarsu Maribi.
And I am Tosin Folorunsho. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a rating and review on wherever you listen to your podcast.
You can also show your support by signing up for a small donation to help sustain future episodes. You can find all relevant links in the description. See you in our next episode.